This message is brought to you by W Energy. Are you a gamer, streamer, podcaster, content creator, just a gym nut? Looking for a boost of energy without the jitters or crash? Then W Energy is the way to go. No calories, no sugar, no fillers, no artificial colors. Just an energy drink packed with multiple vitamins and neurofactor. Go to www.w.gg to order your tub of W Energy now and use promo code ChaoticCulture1 to get 10% off your order. With that, let's get the show started.
You are now tuned in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast.
Testing out some new technology here.
It's the KKP on your mother flipping airways. Hear the name ringing through the halls and the stairways. You were listening to a pod that can segue. All the latest topics guaranteed to fill your headspace. It's a safe place to voice your opinion. Say what you feel just like you're a kid again. Kid to pro and friends, black as obsidian. Chaotic culture, that's the world we living in. So what's the word?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is elevated and supreme. The Chaotic Culture Podcast is brought to you by W Energy, the official energy sponsor of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Use promo code ChaoticCulture1 to get 10% off your order. The KKP is also brought to you by patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod. Subscribe to patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod to get bonus episodes and content, and of course to help keep the lights on. You can just subscribe today for $3 or $5 or $7 or $10. It doesn't matter. Once again, we appreciate your support. This podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts, from finances, music, black business highlights, content creators, sports, HBCUs, home ownership, black nerddom, anime, wrestling, and so on and so forth. If it encompasses black culture, we are going to cover it. Live from the goodness gracious, I'm not from the 7-5 anymore. Excuse me. Bad habits hard to break. Live from the 410. I am the host and the creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This is your boy Ket the Pro, aka the Calculated Millennial, aka the Encore presentation.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more?
AKA your favorite toxic adjacent king, Ked the poet, Ked the closer, all of that good stuff. The 843 is me. Baltimore's the place to be. Always chaotic, never toxic most days. Back again, once again, with your favorite black culture highlights and black culture shenanigans. My host should be joining me here shortly. I assume that Sappy will be here at the tail end here, hopefully. And I'm hoping Law will be able to join. Steve is somewhere in the boonies. I'm not sure where Johnny's at, but either way, we are here. So with that, y'all already know that we start with a mental health check. And for me, this week has been quite episodic, to say the least, but I'm going to keep it as brief as possible. It's been difficult. You know, I've been unfortunately not sleeping as well as I should. And it's not to say that I don't go to bed at a decent hour, because I still do. It's just a matter of I keep finding myself waking up in the middle of the night, fearing something or afraid of something, or I'm not exactly sure. It may be something to do with my rapid eye movement. I don't know, whatever dreams that I am coming up with or have been scaring me as of late. And I'm not exactly sure if that has anything to do with it. It may be one of those things where it's like I'm afraid to go to sleep, or I'm afraid to stay to sleep because I'm fearful that something bad might happen. I'm not sure. But last night was also one of those other nights where I had a nightmare, and I don't want to talk about it because it had to deal with somebody like extremely close to me. And I don't want to have to relive that. It was a it felt real. So I'm hoping that it doesn't get to that point, at least not now. I'm hoping that this is, it was just a dream, and, things will, life will play out as is. But it's really been difficult for me to, I guess, really get some sleep. Also, work has been beating my behind too. And it has me in question on, is this something that, I want to do for long term? Am I going to last a year, or do I need to find another place of employment? Not because the work itself is hard, it's just the toll on your body. I don't know if it's worth it, but I'll have to rediscover and discuss that for a later time. But those are some of the things that I've been going with. And if you have been having some of these issues, maybe you can't sleep well at night either. Maybe it might be a case of insomnia, or maybe you're also having these terrible nightmares like I am. Or maybe it's just you're not in a comfortable position to sleep. Maybe your mattress is bad. I'm not sure. And then for those who are, dealing with struggles of work, let me know what are some of the things that you have been dealing with. Maybe it might be something to do with the people at your job. Maybe management isn't looking your way and promoting you like they should. I've had that problem before. Maybe it's the work environment itself. It might be toxic. Who knows? Maybe it's just life, you don't want to do that job and that's not what you see yourself doing. And yet here you are doing the job and you're kind of stuck. I get it. You know, I did not expect to be working for the company that I work for now. I could, if you had asked me that question like 5 years ago, I would have told you, hell no. But here I am. It is what it is. That doesn't mean it has to be a long-term thing. And I just want my audience to know that whatever you're going through, whether it be work struggles, whether it be life struggles, family struggles, just know that there is always a solution. You can always look to therapy. If you're a praying person, of course, I always recommend that you pray and meditate. And of course, find your solace within whatever religion that you are. Of course, I am Christian. So, of course, I'm going to find solace in reading the word and, of course, listening to sermons. So do what brings you comfort and will help ease your mind and ease your pain. There are many and plenty ways. The biggest choice, obviously, is to go see a therapist and have a therapist on hand. But I know that a lot of people out there don't have the necessary healthcare means to see a therapist all the time. So if you do, of course, there are plenty of resources out there, or rather, if you don't, there's still resources out there for you and to help you. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a chance to share some of those resources at a future date, because right now I'm kind of a little ill prepared at the moment, and I honestly wasn't planning on talking about my mental health for that long, but these things happen. So that in mind, guys, it's always important that we have these mental health checks because it lets us know that we're human, and it keeps us grounded, because ultimately we want to be there for each other. And ultimately, it makes us really pay attention to what we're going through. And hopefully we can learn to love and appreciate ourselves each and every day as we continue on this journey. So with that in mind, I did unfortunately want to talk about this guy again. Listen, I don't know what is going on with Diddy. This whole case has just been absolutely mind-boggling. It seems like every week there is something new, and that something new is absolutely horrifying. I cannot stress how horrifying some of the stuff is. Now, recently, if you've been hearing the news, we've been seeing that as Diddy, continues to go through this new trial, that there are more people who are actually trying to sue him and bring him to court. So I'm going to see if I can find that article there. Let's see. And now we even got more news, but this one happened. And I ain't even gonna say sue. It's more allegations, but this, of course, happened 6 days ago, and apparently there's more news even today about Diddy. This is just ending with him. This is an article from NBC News. It says Sean Diddy Combs is facing dozens of new allegations of sexual assault in a series of lawsuits set to be filed. At a news conference held Tuesday, Texas-based attorney Tony Busby said he is representing 120 accusers with allegations against the entertainment mogul that go back more than 20 years. We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates, Busby said during the news conference. Many powerful people, many dirty secrets, the lawyer said of the allegations. He added that his team has collected pictures, videos, texts. Busby added the allegations will include violent sexual assault or rape, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, dissemination of video recordings, sexual abuse of minors. What the? It's a long list already, but because of the nature of this case, we are going to make sure, damn sure, we are right before we do that, Busby continued. These names will shock you. The lawyer said that more than 3,000 individuals have come forward to his office with accusations against Combs, and then he plans to begin filing lawsuits in various states within the next 30 days. He added, they will name the other defendants at a later date. According to this new group of accusers, Busby says 62% identify as African American, and they hail from more than 25 states, with the majority from New York, California, Georgia, and Florida. Busby said that 25 of the accusers were minors at the time of the alleged incidents, some as early as 1991. Oh my goodness, that means Diddy was still with Motown during this? Hold on. Let me find out. Like what? Whoa! This was before even Bad Boy was a thing. And hold on, which, if I'm not mistaken, which label fired Diddy? I want to. If I'm not mistaken, no. I'm sorry. I said Motown. It's Uptown. Excuse me. Yeah, he was still at Uptown. Oh, goodness gracious. Wow. Okay. Hold on. Time out. I was born in 1991. That is insane. That's insane. The lawyer further claimed one of the accusers was as young as 9 years old at the time of their alleged incident. As Mr. Combs' legal team has emphasized, he cannot address every meritless allegation in what has become a reckless media circus. That said, Mr. Combs emphatically and categorically denies as false and defamatory any claim that he sexually abused anyone, including minors, the rapper's lawyer Erica Wolf said in a statement. He looks forward to proving his innocence and vindicating himself in court if and when claims are filed and served, where the truth will be established based on evidence, not speculation. The thing is that the lawyer in this statement ahead of time has said that he also has videos, pictures, he has evidence himself. So we're going to see what Diddy's defense lawyer has in store for this case, but good God. Like, dude is already in the middle of a RICO, and now there's 20 more sexual assault allegations. This is serious. Like, this is absolutely serious. I know that in previous episodes, of course, we joke about these kind of things. Well, not these kind of things specifically, but we joke on Diddy. But to assault somebody and assault a minor at that is absolutely disgusting. It's innocent until you're proven guilty and things like that. But we gonna see. If most of us know how this works, I don't trust Diddy. I don't trust that he's innocent in all of this. 120 accusations and 3,000 more on top of that. Somebody not lying. Somebody is not lying. If that many people have those kind of gripes against you, and it's the same thing over and over again, somebody not lying. This isn't a case of we want Diddy's money. This is a case of they want justice. Because, at least from my eyes, 120 people, this is like when, the whole incident with Bill Cosby was going down. Like, this many women were saying that you were, drugging them and sexually assaulting them. This many? We on this podcast to believe women. But if it's multiple people, that should say something. And we know with Diddy, it ain't just women. is men too, and apparently is minors. Or it was minors, because clearly they're adults now. If good God, but still. Combs is currently being detained at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, after prosecutors in the Southern District of New York charged Combs with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution in an indictment unsealed last month. Combs pleaded not guilty, and his lawyers have said he is innocent of all charges. Combs was denied bail twice, but on Monday, his legal team, which now includes attorney Alexandra Shapiro, alongside Tinny Garagos and Mark Agnifilio, filed the first paperwork ahead of the appeal of the bail decision. That, I think I said that right. I hope I didn't butcher that. But anyway, that is insane. Now excuse me, my internet has been going in and out, and it's kind of crazy. I don't know why it's going in and out like that, especially because I have strong internet in here, but I don't know, maybe it might be just my computer. Hopefully this signal gets a little stronger. But yeah, let's I'm going to read another article here from The Blast, which we know, yeah. According to Texas-based lawyer Tony Busby, celebrities linked to Sean Diddy Combs are already scrambling to distance themselves from the case by paying off victims. Whoa. Some celebrities implicated in the lawsuit involved the embattled rapper's alleged 120 victims have reportedly avoided public exposure thanks to the hush money. Recently, there have been major media coverage of Sean Diddy Combs after his arrest and charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And then the other part of this article is lawyer claims alleged victims have settled with a handful of Diddy's famous pals. Following Diddy's arrest, all of his celebrity friendships have come under intense scrutiny, with many being accused of being part of the debauchery that allegedly occurred at the rapper's infamous parties, as we know, the freak-offs. Although Diddy is the sole individual implicated in this federal sex crime charges, a new lawsuit filed by 120 plus alleged victims of the bad boy mogul has threatened to expose the names of other high-profile individuals potentially connected to his actions. However, amid the uncertainty about who they are, some have reportedly begun paying off victims to avoid being named in public when the law is tried. In every case, especially cases like these, because it's in the best interest of the victim, we attempt to resolve these matters without the filing of public lawsuit, and we've done that already with a handful of individuals, many of which you've heard of before, the victim's lawyer, Tony Busby, said per TMZ. So there was a TMZ article saying that, goodness gracious, there's a whole firestorm of celebrities that have been involved with Diddy. And I mean, it's not surprising, but it would be interesting to see who these names are if and when they get posted for public. But that's just still crazy. I don't know what to say. I just don't. Like, this is absolutely nuts. Y'all, I'm sitting here staring at y'all at this camera like, yo, wow. That's really all I can say to this. Essentially, when it comes to the cases with Diddy, man, it's gone beyond crazy. And again, I don't think that these are people just looking to cash out on Diddy. I really think that these are people who have seriously been abused, because if we saw what he did to Cassie, that should be enough implication that, yo, he did that shit. Like, ain't no way he did that shit. So with that in mind, guys, it's important to believe victims of sexual assault. It's always important. And when you have more than one person saying this about a certain somebody, clearly that there's a case there. But it is just so insane how this case has evolved and continued to evolve. Like, Diddy is out of his absolute mind, and there's really no way to put that lightly. Like, when you think about what some of these celebrities do and some of the fun that they have, like there is no reason why we as society should glorify what they do in the public eye. Like, listen, if you want to be a celebrity, if you want to make money and all of that good stuff, by all means, but society has to be careful and be mindful on who they look up to and who they use as influences. Like, if Diddy is one of your biggest influences, I'm going to question your behavior and I'm going to question you as a person, because this right here, these cases right here, this RICO charge against him, that's already proof enough that dude is a disgusting and vile person and seriously needs help and jail time. There's really no way around that. And yet we get people who glorify these celebrities all the time. And it's like, yo, some of these celebrities are bad people. They're not good people. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and just try to throw out different conspiracy theories on what some of these celebrities do and don't do. But just from some of their interactions on social media alone, that should be enough to tell you that, yo, these people ain't the best people to be around. When you look at people like Onika Tanya Mirage Petty, one of the greatest rappers, I'm gonna say, not even just female rappers, one of the greatest rappers to ever get on a mic. But as a person, I don't even know if I would even want to be around her, just because of one, her personality, and two, who she's married to. That should be enough reason for me to be like, you know what, I'm good. I'm good. And I want to talk about, or at least mention, people like DaBaby, who right now, DaBaby is on this quote unquote redemption tour. I don't know if y'all saw his Breakfast Club interview, but he said, or at least implied in this interview, that, you know, he is sort of kind of holding himself accountable for some of the actions that he's done in the past. Now, it's up to you whether you want to believe that or not. By all means, I'm not going to sit here and judge you for that, but still, it's just one of those situations where it's like, yo, you said a lot of things, you did a lot of shit on top of that, and then of course you made the, you know, the homophobic homophobic slurs and things of that nature. You've shown yourself to be a bigot, and on top of that, like, yeah, I know DaBaby can rap and he can, you know, do more than just make one kind of song, but that's really all that he was doing for the longest. But if you listen to like some of his lyrics, like, it's some of the stuff and the misogyny that he would be saying, especially when he was rapping with Megan Thee Stallion. Like, if you listen to some of those lyrics, it's like, oh, you know what? Baby got issues. And so we see that he's trying to like redeem himself. He's still dropping the freestyles like every week or so, but he recently dropped an album. I haven't listened to it yet, and I probably won't, because I was never like the biggest DaBaby fan to start. But he was hot for a second until he wasn't. Until he made those errors, because I ain't gonna say that they were mistakes. He made some very, very strong errors, and a lot of it's just not taking him now to fully admit to those wrongs. So yeah, I can't. You know, when it comes to celebrities, it's really just a matter of pick your celebrity influences wisely, because I know a lot of times we're like, oh, we want some of our people to be role models, and, you know, we look up to them, and they this, that, and the third. Oh, they inspire me to go out and be a great artist, a great rapper, a great R&B artist, a great musician. And sometimes I know that there's that saying that you should be able to separate the art from the person, but sometimes you really just can't. It's hard for me to separate R. Kelly's art from R. Kelly the person because of all the disgusting shit that he did. And unfortunately, the disgusting things that he did were probably some of the reason why he was able to make great music. That's not somebody who I want to be as an inspiration. I'm sorry. And it's going to be the same way for Diddy. Like, I don't know if I can listen to a Diddy song the same way again. Not that I listen to him like that on the regular, because yeah, Diddy can't rap. he damn sure can't rap. But it's just going to be really, really hard listening to a lot of Bad Boy records again, knowing just, you know, the kind of shit that he did. But that being said, I'm just being honest, in the R. Kelly situation, it's impossible to separate all of his music from him, because R. Kelly wrote so much music in the 90s and the 2000s. It's really hard to separate him. You could probably, that's why I'm like, you know what, when it comes to his personal albums and his records, I'm good off it. I don't have to listen to it a single day for the rest of my life. Maybe like one or two songs here and there. Like I wish was one of my favorite songs as a kid. But otherwise, like, I'm not listening to Bump and Grind, because God knows what was going through your head when you wrote that shit. And so I kind of have to use the thing or imply the same logic with Diddy. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I can't listen to anymore because just of who you are. I can't go back and listen to Diddy Dirty Money, Hello, Good Morning, because one of the artists in Dirty Money says you did her foul. I just can't do it. So, y'all, pick your celebrity crushes and your celebrity inspirations and influences wisely, because Diddy's not it. And unfortunately, he has made such a huge impact on hip hop. But as a consequence, we have all of these things that he's done behind the scenes and behind closed doors. And then on top of that, we really, and I mean really, we don't know who he's been doing it with. That's the scary part. Or maybe we do, but we just waiting for them names to drop to be like, oh, I'm surprised at this, or I'm not surprised at this name. It's crazy. It's insane, but here we are. So with that in mind, before we get into the next topic, y'all, I do want to talk about some stuff that happened in between. Excuse me. Some new music dropped, obviously, since the last time we spoke. Future dropped a new mixtape Pluto. I mean, it's Future. I listened to it. Yeah. There's some good stuff on there, but it's like, for me, I guess because I grew up on a lot of conscious hip hop, is why I have to have like the other brands of hip hop. I have to be in a certain mood. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to, turn on music every single day. That being said, there was a lot of introspective stuff on this last Future album, if I'm not mistaken. There was one song in general on mixtape Pluto, Lost My Dog. I thought that was like really, really introspective for Future himself, because he talked about how he lost his dog, his friend, to drugs, and yet here he is still abusing drugs. And it really made me think that, man, Future, you can't live your life like that. But I think Future is kind of trapped because he doesn't know like how to escape that. And unfortunately, his friend was not able to escape that. And so I honestly thought, well, maybe this might be sort of like a tribute to Rich Homie Quan. I don't know how long ago he recorded that, but clearly we already know the situation with Quan. So I wouldn't be surprised if that song in particular was about him, or maybe it could be just another random one of his friends. I'm just speculating. But truth be told, that song itself, out of that entire mixtape, that one hit me the most. Like, damn, Future, like, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I don't know if I've had any friends that have unfortunately passed on from drug abuse, but I definitely have known some people who have been affected by family members passing away from drug abuse. So I get it. But yeah, there's a lot on here that is like was cool, and then there was a lot like this, like Plutoski. Okay, that one probably will be hot, but it didn't do anything for me. But that's just me personally. There are some music, some albums out there that I still have yet to listen to. I have not listened to Victoria Monet's deluxe edition of Jaguar 2. I plan on listening to that. Apparently, Tyla is dropping a deluxe edition of her album. And yeah, if y'all haven't seen that cover, I mean, more power to her. I think she got a boyfriend now, so I can't really thirst like that. But I mean, I'm looking to look, but I also don't know how old Tyler is either. So yeah, I think she's still kind of like hella young too. So I'm probably gonna stay away from that. I mean, she looked good though. She looked good, but yeah, there is an album that I've been avoiding, and it's Big Sean's album, and personally, I don't know why I've been avoiding it, but I need to listen to it, and I will eventually. I don't know. It hasn't really like hit me the same, or Big Sean as an artist hasn't hit me the same, but that's neither here nor there. I like Big Sean as an artist, as a rapper, like as everything. Like, dude is legit, and I've always loved his music. I think it's just been so long that I'm like, do I really want to like listen to this? But eventually I will get to the album. From what I'm hearing, it's decent. I don't know if it's like, the best album he's ever had, according to what critics say, but whatever. I gotta really stop saying in between every sentence, and I know that's like unprofessional of me, but I definitely want to stop doing that. I don't want to be like these professional podcasters who have to go back and edit out all the ahs and the ums and the uhs and whatnot. I've had training from college on how to avoid that, but it gets very difficult because it's a force of habit. So bear with me, y'all. And I know I just kind of went off on a tangent, but anyway. I went to see K Tronada this past Sunday, and let me just say that I had a good time. It was at the Merriweather Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland, and yeah, it was outside. So we was underneath. I was at the pavilion. I had a seat. I had tickets for seats. You could either buy tickets for like the lawn, the mezzanine, or floor seats, which really are not like seats. It's standing room on the floor, but those tickets were like a little too expensive. That being said, I had a decent seat where I could see the artist itself, but I was like all the way in the corner, so I couldn't exactly see the screen behind them and all the visuals that were behind them, but still I saw the artist, and that's enough. So during this concert, there were actually two DJs and artists, and then there was K Tronada. So the first DJ was Jake the Lights Guy, who is a DJ that specializes in electric music. There was the other one was Sam G, or Sam Gelentry. I think that's how you say his last name. And yeah, he's also in the same field. And then the artist that performed was Channel Trace. Now, if you're not familiar with Channel Trace, he is an artist out of Compton, California as well. But his turn in hip hop, or rather his path in hip hop, is a little strange because it kind of flows into that electronic EDM / hip hop field. It's really different. If you haven't heard Drip Sweat by K Tronada, which at this point, I don't know how you haven't heard that song. He's the one who is rapping and singing on it. That is him. That's the easiest way I can like describe it. But he has plenty of other hits out there. I admit that I was hip to him, but I wasn't like fully hip to his music. But there were some songs that I recognized from his performance. So I was like, oh, wait, he sings that? Oh, how did I not know that? So yeah, great artist. Great performer. He actually had a group of dancers with him, so he was dancing with them throughout his entire performance. And then, of course, K Tronada came out, and it was just all vibes, all love. The music the music is great. It is absolutely fantastic. Like, I am a big fan of Kaytranada. I've been a big fan since the first song that I heard that he produced was Girl by The Internet. And at that point, I was like, oh, I gotta like keep my eye on him. So I've been a fan of Kaytranada since 99.9%. And then, of course, Bubba, and then Kaytramine. Shout out to Amine. So Kaytranada is one of those artists that, like, yeah, that's I love it. And I'm not the biggest guy when it comes to EDM type music or electronic music, but something about the way Kaytranada actually makes his albums, like this last album, Timeless, was phenomenal. So maybe this will be my way back in, because I did go through an EDM phase, but I kind of got out of that phase because there were certain, I don't know, it's really, really hit or miss. Like with Usher's albums, like the albums that he had in the early 2000s, early 2010s and whatnot, that kind of EDM was kind of like, yeah. And then, of course, I think what it was is that a lot of artists just started utilizing EDM during that time. And I think that's what got me disinterested. But EDM just by itself, or electronic music by itself, I think, it does something to me. I think that it really does resonate with my soul, and I love it. It's just I have to love it in spots. So I in college I was listening to Dead Mouse, I was listening to Skrillex. Those are like two of the top ones. So now, of course, here comes Kaytranada, and he kind of sparks my love for it again. So I'm having a great and wonderful concert. So we are going to move on, because there is one other topic that I kind of want to cover. Now, I'm going to share this video. If you didn't see like my last episode, we talked to about this guy named the Company Man. And so I kind of want to share this video because it kind of falls into the Diddy case, but also it talks a little bit about a certain person or certain former R&B artist by the name of Jaguar Wright. And yeah, God bless her. Yo, Jaguar, I think from what her family tells me, she has a mental illness that she's just not taking her medicine for. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least. But I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so that way we can watch and react to this video.
All right. Story number two. All right. I went back and forth on whether or not I was going to cover this, but Jaguar Wright went on Piers Morgan.
Ugh.
Piers Morgan had Jaguar Wright on. Then he had DJ Vlad. And then he had lawyer for one of Diddy's accusers, Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Okay. And they're talking about the Diddy case, of course. Now, Jaguar Wright has... First of all, she's an incredibly talented artist. I got to say that. I think it's, regardless of her public persona in recent years, Jaguar Wright can sing. She's had a very talented career. She has a solo album, which I used to rock all the time probably back in college. It was, she was a neo-soul artist. She worked with The Roots heavily. She's actually singing on the Blueprint. I guess he did some other songs too, but he did the Blueprint Live, and she's singing on that album, on the Unplugged album. So, she's known Jay-Z for a long time. I've heard rumors. I don't want to say rumors. I've had people tell me that there was a point in time Roc Nation was shopping her around or wanting to work with her, wanted to put her in an Angie Stone type position at different points in the history of that company. So, she does have a relationship with Roc Nation. She does have an impact that she's made in music. Okay. And she is wildly talented. Now, over the past few years, Jaguar Wright has been giving a number of interviews and lives where she is calling out all kinds of names across the music industry, all kinds of names around a lot of very seedy, dark topics. And recently, with Diddy being in custody, taken into custody, and charged federally and now civilly, a lot of people are looking at Jaguar Wright as saying, you know, as someone who was right all along when most people weren't saying anything. And in this case, in the Diddy case, that seems to be the case. Now, there's a lot of people who call her all kinds of names, right? But most of her conversations have been online platforms primarily, or her own live streams. Most of her conversations have lived in that space. This week, she went on Piers Morgan, which is one of the biggest, news guys, news reporters. I'm not sure what to call him. Is he a talking head? I don't know. But Piers Morgan is one of the biggest voices in the world on a number of topics. And he had Jaguar Wright on. And Jaguar Wright talked about the Diddy situation, but pivoted heavily to making wild allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce, the type of allegations I hope she's super lawyered up for. And it went incredibly viral, over the past 2 days. So let's take a look at it, and we'll take a look at a couple of clips here. This first part right here is how dangerous is Diddy?
The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying.
Now take that with a grain of salt, because I know that in some cases people look at Jaguar Wright like, oh, she might have been right all along. But also there are a lot of people who she's made allegations against, and they've looked at her like, yeah, I got my lawyer ready. One of those names actually being Tevin Campbell, which surprisingly enough, Tevin Campbell has actually had an issue with Jaguar Wright for years. And I mean years. She's made allegations about this dude being passed around and whatnot. Now, we all know at this point, Tevin Campbell is gay. I think that it was a long time industry secret, but not secret. But, for him, when it comes to people who are trying to come out on your own time and when you feel safe enough to do that. And when you're free enough to do that. So, of course, he did it on his own time, obviously. And I think that that's really important. But still, she was making all of these allegations about him being passed around and him being a sacrifice and all of that stuff. And Tevin Campbell has been telling Jaguar Wright for years, keep my name out your mouth. And sorry, I just see him. I'm seeing a mosquito in this daggone house. And I really just want to kill it right now. But anyway, yeah, he's told her, keep my name out your mouth. And he said so again after this interview. He said, do not come for TEVIN. I have my lawyer on deck. So that should already tell you, like, yo, she's making a lot of allegations. Now she's making allegations against Beyonce and Jay-Z, which is, it's not. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that people have made allegations, but I just wanted to point this one out because Jaguar Wright has definitely been in the news as of late. So let's continue.
And it's all done under the protection of this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
She says she has her own tapes. Her own tapes. There's been a lot of reports about Diddy's tapes. She says she has her own tapes. Now, I can't obviously verify whether that's true or not, I just wonder why. I wonder what she plans to do with them and why she hasn't done anything with them, if this is the case.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too
Everyone
scared
knows.
to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy.
Before we continue, I just wanted to again point out that the company man just makes an excellent point that when you make these kinds of allegations, you better have your lawyers ready and you better have some proof. And here's the thing, like if she had these videos and all this proof and whatnot, then why hasn't she gone to the FBI or why hasn't she submitted them to law enforcement to prove that these media moguls and whatnot are doing these things? Like if you have the proof, if you have the evidence, then you should be okay. Like unless she's not trying to self-implicate herself into something that she was doing. I honestly, I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to show that little clip. Hopefully we get a chance to, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to see if when she gets to the Jay-Z part, but.
See, people keep looking at him like
That's something that Suge Knight said in his conversation with Chris Cuomo. We covered that here on the channel as well. I mean, the music industry is an industry started by literal gangsters.
This is fact.
He's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making ditties. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically. And Clyde Davis has been his greatest teacher.
See, again, I hope Jaguar Wright is lawyered up. I hope she is lawyered up. You know, these are wild allegations, very specific allegations. There's more. Let's take a look at another clip here.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about.
Let me just stop right there. I'm gonna share it again, but like that is bold. That is a bold and wild accusation. I'm not saying that Jay-Z or Beyonce don't have the potential to do these things, but that is crazy. That is a crazy accusation to just throw out there. And we know that Piers Morgan, when it comes to right-wing talking points, he's probably not the best person to verify these things with or go and talk to. Yes, he's one of those like talking heads or political commentators or whatnot, but some of the stuff that he said against people of color have been absolutely disgusting. That said, hearing that, seeing that, that is a wild accusation to make about Jay-Z, Beyonce, and then that's a wild accusation to make about Aaliyah. Like, yo, that implies all kinds of things that I hope, again, she's lawyered up for. Like, as I already said early in the episode, Tevin Campbell said, hey, keep my name out your mouth unless you want my lawyer to do something about it. And she hasn't said anything about it since. I don't know if she said anything about Tevin in this interview. I didn't get that far. But yeah, I think that Tevin's response implied that she might have been implying something. And he was like, nah, stop what you're doing. We're not going there. We not. So that's crazy. That is absolutely insane. But yeah, we continue. Let me go ahead and share again because I kind of want to see what the company man has to say.
Piers.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know.
Um,
I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
Now, the book that they're referencing here has recently been pulled off Amazon. Now, you know, I believe one of the reasons they pulled it off Amazon was because the nature of the conversation, and I think obviously the validity of those claims has been called into question. But that is something to keep in mind too. This book says a lot of wild things. I've had a lot of people send me stuff from this book before it published, before it was released, and you know, that's, to me, from my point of view, that falls into the realm of conversation where I don't know how anyone I couldn't verify it. I couldn't verify whether those allegations were true or not. So I decided not to report on those things. But just letting you know, the book that they're referring to has been removed from Amazon.
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it.
So I think that's a good stopping point for us here. Again, when it comes to Diddy, I'm not going to take what she is saying lightly because, again, there's a lot of things that Diddy has said and done that makes me believe, okay, there's some truth behind those statements. Now, the whole Jay-Z and Beyonce thing, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure Rock Nation is going to send a cease and desist to her if they haven't already. Because, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If there is some validity to those statements, we'll see what the world has in store, I suppose. But I think that's a good stopping point. There is one topic that I wanted to get to, but I think I want to have that conversation with more of my peers because unfortunately my podmates were not able to make it tonight, so this is just going to be a solo episode. But just seeing that and just seeing all that Diddy has done and all that, like, the stories that are coming out is just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Also, at the same time, I know that, again, Jaguar Wright has said some off-kilter stuff and some off-the-wall stuff that have people looking at her like, hey, you need to chill out. Not so much that, you know, you can say whatever you want. You're entitled to say what you want, but some of those stuff are probably downright lies because of whatever mental health issue that she has going on. And some people are really taking it serious. Again, Tevin Campbell was like, I got my lawyer ready. Say something. I can't, or I don't know if there are any other people who are like that, but I'm pretty sure that Jay-Z and Beyonce have their lawyers ready in case she says something off the wall that is considered defamation, and they're like, nah, we taking this to the court. So I'm not saying don't believe Jaguar. I'm just saying take it with a grain of salt, because she's known to like make these wild accusations before. And again, that's not to say that the industry is not, because clearly they are, or a lot of people in the industry are. However, specific people that she has named, it's like, okay, where's the proof? Like, show the proof here, because you say that you have these videos, you say you have all this evidence, so show it. But then there might be some legal ramifications behind that. It might be one of those situations where she doesn't want to hurt the victims of these people. Maybe, I don't know, but there's a lot that is just like, okay, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's not enough reasonable doubt in there. And I don't mean to use that as a pun literally, but there's not enough reasonable doubt in there for me to believe or take some of the things that you say at face value, with the exception of Diddy, because yeah, I can totally believe that. But we have yet to see or anything implicating that Jay-Z and Beyonce have done anything off the wall or crazy, other than continue to make business moves and mind their business and stay out of the public light, unless they need to. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. Anyway, guys, I think that is a good stopping point here for us. So I wish that episode 2 honestly would have been a lot of things in store. Like, I had an interview, unfortunately I had to reschedule. I had a big event that I was trying to do that I had to reschedule again. It's just a lot of things going on, but life is life and we still move. So of course my internet decides to act up at this time as well, because I see the little indicator at the top saying that I barely have a signal. So if this video does go out, I apologize in advance. And if you're listening on any of the other streaming platforms, if you hear my voice break up at any point in time, once again, I apologize. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I don't have any new businesses or any new black businesses to talk about. But if you're listening to this podcast, please let me know if there are any black businesses that you would like for me to cover, like for me to shout out, or like for me to have on as a guest for this podcast. Like, when we talk about this podcast, we promote everything black. So please be sure that you hit me up and let me know if there's somebody that I can interview, talk to, kick it with, chat with, do pod with. I'm ready, and I am ready to highlight them as a business and as a profession, or if they're content creators, whatever the case. I definitely want to be sure that I have them there, because again, we promote black excellence on this podcast. So with that, let's go ahead and do the rundown here. Once again, shout out to Shogo High and Inside the Mind of a Blur, the other two podcasts that I'm a part of. And big shout out to, of course, to Mike Check Waifu, Worst Generation Pod, and of course, Blaname Pod. I am a Patreon subscriber still to all three. Blaname has definitely returned, so I'm looking forward to more episodes. Shout out to Mike and Sine. Worst Gen still on a little bit of a break. They still got their thing going on. But of course, Mike Check Waifu, as far as seasonal anime, they continuously run the gauntlet. So big ups to those brothers. Of course, I had both Polo and Teliano on this pod as well. If you haven't seen that episode, I highly recommend that you check it out. So shout out, of course, to the Truth and Transparency podcast with Brother X, the culture scientist, and Mr. Smith. Shout out to It's So Real with Raquel and Onaji. Shout out to Dad Needs to Talk with Rob, the father of Vash. Goodness gracious. Slow down. Shout out to Analytical where shit gets critical. Shout out to Geek Set Podcast. Shout out to Anime Junkies 3 Weaves in the podcast. Shout out to Those Anime Girls. Shout out to The Commute. And of course, shout out to Black Geek Energy. I'm going to have both DeMarcus and Jared on this podcast pretty soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to hold on schedules. So, for the black content creators, of course, we got Off Black Magazine with Aaron, HBCU Anime with Evan. Shout out to Cerberus Entertainment. Shout out to Tatted Poodle. Shout out to the Geechee Gamer. Happy birthday, by the way. Happy belated birthday, Q. Big shout out. Hitting the big 3-5. And I've been friends with Kiana since she was 17, 18. it's crazy that I've known her for this long. I need to also watch some of her Twitch channels again because it's been a minute. I've been kind of on and off Twitch for various reasons, but eventually the Chaotic Culture Podcast will be streaming from Twitch too. So I mean, there's that. It's a necessary evil. It's just like me trying to create a TikTok. I really don't want to create a TikTok, but you know what? It is what it is. Anyway, shout out to Icarus Metro Comics with my boy Calvin. Shout out to the gang Haptaku. Shout out to Shelby with Simply Janine, Simply Baked, and Rose Less Traveled. Shout out to Strange Keith with Idols to Icons, Toasty Marshmallow. Shout out to, of course, the Corner 5, which consists of by Simone Malcolm, none of my friends watch anime, aka Courtney, Fi, aka Five for Rage, Chris, aka Chris Matarame, and Sham, aka One Punch Sham, and happy belated birthday, One Punch Sham. I already wished her a happy birthday, but I wanted to say it again on this pod. So yeah. And of course, shout out to my boy Scuba Steve and Alpha with Blurred Mind Productions. For our black artists, once again, shout out to NASA, Scoozy, Jack Union, Phil.me, Ellis Quinn, RJ Stackhouse, my boy Quarter, Tyrone Leak Jr., Ari Lachelle, happy birthday once again, or belated birthday in this case. Zach Hines, Elena, Zainab, and Imogen. And of course, for our black businesses, already paid by Dre, Fresheners, Righteous Minds by Timo, Cases Brand by Christina, Cream Cosmetics by Naima, Mind Over Money by Tremaine, Studio Maha with Pat Yin, Concept Moon, She Designs 2 with Aaron, Black Magic / Lit Wands with Rowan T, H4 Created by Zenobia, Real Estate Stone by Meredith, Sold by Belmont Mariah, Good Vibes Only with NASA, and of course, Scrappy Sentiment with Sappy. Be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Please be sure that you subscribe to the Patreon for bonus content and early access to the podcast. Once again, patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod. And you can subscribe at any of the 4 levels, whether it be $3, $5, $7, and $10. Once again, we appreciate your support. You can follow the Chaotic Culture Podcast page on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram at Chaotic Culture Pod, and you can follow us on X/Twitter at Chaotic Culture 1. You can follow me, Ket the Pro, that's K3D the Pro, on all social media. You can follow Miss Nasa on all social media at I'm Nakaso. You can follow Sappy on all social media at Scraps14. You can follow Law on Instagram at L.JR_96, and you can follow him on X/Twitter at Law96_. You can follow Jay at JayLeeTrey on all social media. You can follow Scuba Steve at ScubaSteve1428 on all social media. And this has been another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. So until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture, chaos rules, be blessed, be safe, God is love, and we are out of here. Deuces.
It's the KKP on your mother flipping airways. Hear the name ringing through the halls and the stairways. You were listening to a pod that can segue. All the latest topics guaranteed to fill your headspace. It's a safe place to voice your opinion. Say what you feel just like you're a kid again. Kid the Pro and friends, black as obsidian. Chaotic culture, that's the world we living in. So what's the word?
You are now tuned in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. And